What's up, guys? Got another. We'll wait another minute. Hello, hello. How are y'all doing? Hello, hello. My Mac is making noises. Hello on YouTube and Instagram. Living the dream. Yep. First massage in 6 years. That's a long time. Hello, Holly. Hope you're doing well. Yes. Jocko. I used to wear a lot of Jocko. What? Brazil. I miss that place. I'm doing well, thank you. Okay, let's get rocking and rolling. Today we're going to do a rant about hormones. And this conversation could go down many different pathways. And yes, I understand that when I decided I wanted to talk about this. But I want to keep it specifically to more or less like, yes, health of the body, but also changing the body. Because obviously hormones do many different things. Hello from Spain. I miss Spain. But there's, like I said, I wanted to keep it in the conversation of around like changing the body and, building muscle, building strength, fat loss, and health in general. So I want to go over kind of like quickly, like a general understanding of what hormones do and kind of like where they come from. Also, some specific hormones dealing strictly with health and fat and muscle and strength, all that fun stuff. And really like the impact on the body and how to use hormones to change the body. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So really what hormones are is that they're like messengers in the body. And they tell our body what to do, specifically organs. And they come from certain areas inside the body. So for instance, there you have major endocrine glands, which make up these hormones. And these glands can be located in the brain, your thyroid, parathyroid, your adrenals, your pancreas, reproductive glands, and your gastrointestinal tract, which is why when you're on some type of gut fix or digestive fix meal plan, which I know a lot of you have reached out to me about and I've connected with a lot of you about, that's why it's so impactful, is because there are hormones from there that can make a huge difference. And the thing with hormones is that it's really all about balance. Typical example is anyone using any type of androgens such as steroids. The reason where a lot of those problems go awry is because they're way out of balance. They abuse them. And then also at the other end, it's for individuals who, let's say males and females who have low testosterone or low estrogen, again, that can make an impact. So it's all about balance. And if any of you kind of catch my drift with a lot of this stuff, it's all about creating consistency and a foundation, and that goes for hormones as well. And today, there's a lot of hormone therapy, hormone replacement, a lot of tests, blood panels to get hormones checked, which is always a good thing because they're so impactful in the body. They literally tell our body what to do. And if they're going downhill, same thing. So your body will go downhill as well. And they really are impacted by stresses in the body. And what I mean stresses is, yes, stress, but like things that can impact our environment, impact our bodies, such as the environment, foods we eat, emotional stress, whether it's coming from family, friends, loved ones, work, whatever it is, our body will respond. And the way it responds is with hormones telling our body what to do. So that's really kind of the gist of what hormones are from a very high level. So what I wanted to kind of get into now are specific hormones that really impact for what maybe a lot of you are looking for, such as fat loss, increased muscle mass, increased strength, decreasing. So does that say stress from psycho workouts? Yeah, exactly. Specifically with that, hormones will change, but all of it. Or maybe it's, how hormones will impact our performance with workouts. So those are really the type of hormones I want to talk about. And the first one, which I've mentioned plenty of times, is cortisol. And really what cortisol does, well, it's found in the adrenal gland. And our adrenal gland does many different things. But again, one of the things it does is produce cortisol, and cortisol unfortunately gets a bad rap. But that's also because, well, here in America, Americans tend to have very stressful lives, and cortisol deals with stress. And cortisol will regulate energy, blood pressure, cholesterol, weight management, energy production. And so it's very important that we have a good management of cortisol. And it is a stress hormone, meaning when our stress increases via, working out, stresses at work, family, friends, whatever, if it is either low when it needs to be high, high when it needs to be low, all over the place, no rhythm, whatever it is, caused by excess consistent stress. And if that's the case for a prolonged period of time, then things could start to go wrong, or it'll impact your body in ways you may not like. And another way to look at this is if we come out of cortisol, we look at, like I said, the adrenal gland. And when, like I said, you have cortisol when it should be low, when it's high, it should be low, all over the place, you can get what's called adrenal fatigue. And adrenal fatigue is really a dysfunction of your brain's communication with your adrenals. And not specifically the adrenal glands themselves. So it's funny, it's not really cortisol's fault. it's really the communication between your brain and the adrenals. So if it's getting overstimulated, well, your adrenals are going to pump out a lot of cortisol. If it's understimulated, you're not going to produce enough. So that's another way to look at it instead of giving cortisol such a bad rap. And really, hate to call out a lot of the population, but it's really just our problem or our issue in dealing with these stresses. And that's me included. So things you may experience with improper levels or management or function of cortisol, and with that, like really adrenal fatigue, is not enough energy. So you may have trouble getting up in the morning, and vice versa. You may have trouble getting up at night, or you may have trouble going to sleep at night because potentially cortisol could be too high. You could be craving sugary foods. You could have weight gains such as fat storage. You could be moody. You could have, blood pressure could be off. So maybe standing could cause dizziness, or getting up too fast could cause dizziness. You could have blood sugar issues, headaches. So, there's a whole slew of potential reasons that, a whole potential list of symptoms you could be experiencing with adrenal fatigue and improper balance of cortisol. Now, obviously, what would be pertaining to this conversation would be energy levels, increased fat storage, difficulty to lose weight. So again, if you feel like you're doing the right thing, it's like, oh, I'm eating the right foods, I'm working out, I'm strength training, I'm doing cardio, but you're not seeing results. It could be because of an imbalance in cortisol levels. But again, adrenal fatigue. So moving on to the next one, which is also very popular, and that's our thyroid. Our thyroid, really every cell of your body needs thyroid function, thyroid hormones to function properly or healthily. And there could be many underlying thyroid problems that, may not show up in lab testings, because I feel like a lot of people, it's like, oh, I got to get my thyroid checked, got to get my thyroid checked, got to get my thyroid checked. That's like one of the number one things I feel like is checked, which is good. Because it plays a huge role in energy levels and fat metabolism. But even with some of those lab testings may not test for what could be really going on with the thyroid. So, what you may experience with improper thyroid function. Again, feeling tired because it deals with energy. Believe it or not, you could be feeling cold in your hands and feet and all over because it could help, again, with energy and temperature regulation. It could be impacting that. Again, weight gain, even with a proper caloric intake, because with the thyroid hormones, they deal a lot in that. Depression or lack of motivation, morning headaches, thinning of hair on the scalp, excessive hair falling out. What else we got? Dry skin, mental fatigue. So there's again a whole list of potential symptoms you could be experiencing with thyroid being in imbalance. But again, pertaining to this, really it comes down to energy levels. Again, difficulty losing weight. So if you're experiencing that, and again, the reason I'm kind of going through this is because I know a lot of you reach out saying that I'm experiencing these different things, or I'm trying to do the right things, but nothing's really sticking. Well, we may need to look at hormones, and it's always good to get your hormones checked out in the first place. So that's your thyroid. If you look at estrogen, again, estrogen I feel like tends to get a bad rap. Estrogen's important. It's obviously one of our sex hormones, but it functions in many, like it can play a role in many different ways in our body. And you want to look at it from both too much and too little, because with estrogen and testosterone, you can experience different things on both ends of the spectrum. So with estrogen, if you don't have enough estrogen in your system, a big one's like depression, hot flashes, feeling lethargic, brain fog in a way, like you just feel very cloudy, night sweats. So again, that could be lying in estrogen. If you have too much estrogen, we're also looking some similar things, again, like cloudiness in the brain. But now we're looking at more kind of mood swings, rapid weight gain, inflammation, potential gallbladder problems, insomnia. What else? Being very emotional. And I know females tend to get a bad rap for this. And you can always now just say, it's my estrogen, but that goes for males too. It's not just females. Males can also have instances of high estrogen, which could cause that as well. So looking at testosterone, again, testosterone can occur low and high in both males and females. So with testosterone, if we're looking at women who experience too much testosterone, is that Dan? Oh no, I thought, hey, what's up? If too much testosterone in women, we're looking at acne, we're looking at thinning of the hair, infertility. No, because the reason I said that is because your icon looked very similar to his, and I was like, oh, did Dan pop on? You've tricked me. Excess hair on the face and arms, like almost like from a female, it's like you're having very similar male qualities. And again, on the other end, if you don't have enough testosterone, weight gain and fatigue. So you can start to kind of see potential similarities with these hormones and how they play a role in the body, such as lack of energy, emotion, like mood swings or depression or anxiety, weight gain. So it just goes to show that how important hormone function is in all of this. So really, that's why I'm going off, like, want to talk about this, because with stress, improper eating, improper movement, it can lead to all of this. It could lead to improper function of hormones. So if we look at men with a lot of, and for a male, it's more low testosterone. Yes, there are cases naturally where males can experience high testosterone, but high testosterone more often occurs than not with some type of external or like steroid, androgen, something like that. So I'm going to focus more on the lower end, and a lot of that could be like a low sex drive, irritability, breast development in men, weight gain. So again, some commonalities. Then we're going to look at leptin. So leptin is important. I don't want to get too in detail with a lot of this stuff. So your fat cells produce leptin. And so your fat's not just there to jiggle around, believe it or not. Your fat cells are there for an important role, and that's to provide energy for the body. And the way it does that is with your leptin levels, or your leptin hormone. And what can happen is what's called leptin resistance, and that can occur when your leptin hormones are not recognized by the body. So your body then thinks it's in starvation mode, which I've mentioned plenty of times, which then what happens? Your body is going to want to store more fat. So your body not recognizing or having a leptin resistance, your body having a resistance to leptin could be another reason why it is difficult to burn fat, which again, it could be, caused for many different reasons. But again, if this is happening, leptin resistance, you're going to experience being overweight. It's difficult to lose fat or lose weight. Constant food cravings because your body's always hungry, and you're going to be stressed out. So there's a lot, like you said, there's a lot connected with this, and that's why I wanted to talk specifically about these hormones, because as you can see, they're all kind of similar, tied together in one way or another. And then the last one I wanted to talk about is insulin. And insulin comes from your pancreas, and insulin really guides your sugar to the cells. So insulin becomes more popular obviously in diabetics or pre-diabetics, but for someone who's not a pre-diabetic or diabetic, they shouldn't neglect insulin, because consistent elevated levels of insulin tells your body to store. And there's an oversensitivity to insulin, and there's a resistance to insulin. Most of the times you have resistance to insulin when someone is either genetically predisposed to have that, and what happens, your cells have like a window. When resistance occurs, when that window gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and then your body has to start producing more insulin to compensate, which is stressful and no fun. And then the other end of it is those cells are super sensitive to insulin, so they would need a fraction of that, and then that's where low blood sugar can occur. So what you can experience with any type of insulin resistance or sensitivity is cravings for sweets, being irritable if your meals are missed, relying on some type of stimulant, like a caffeine in the sense. I'm not talking about drugs, I'm talking more of like a coffee or tea. Getting lightheaded, feeling shaky, agitated, blurred vision, poor memory, frequent urination, increased thirst and appetite, and difficulty losing weight. So again, more commonalities. So really kind of like the bottom line with hormones is that if they're not in balance, there's potential health issues. That's probably my biggest thing. You crave sugar, and yeah, maybe could have an issue with insulin levels. Again, I'm not and whenever I do talk to you, I'm not declaring things as it is. I'm giving you more just a broader view of things, giving you more generalities because I can't obviously speak specifically to all of you at once. But it's all about balance. And what I see most of the population is that there's not a balance in managing stress, and stress could throw off the balance of a lot of these hormones. Also genetically, that could, unfortunately, our genetic code could kick in and now we have low thyroid. Or like myself, when I was 5, for whatever reason, my body decided that my insulin cells were going to stop working. So things happen, but the great thing about this is that the body is, in my opinion, the strongest machine on this planet, the most adaptable. And when you keep an eye on hormones, the body can really do amazing things. Like, for instance, myself, that's kind of really all I can speak to, is with having diabetes and growing up and really experiencing how my body's reacting, how it's developing over time. I've really, for myself, developed ways, also with the help of an endocrinologist, which is always important, developed ways to get on really creating a lifestyle to help manage hormones so that I can manage my diabetes and my life a lot better. Because it's not just like, okay, let's just focus on one hormone. It doesn't work like that. Because as you heard with a lot of the symptoms, they're all kind of interconnected. So you really have to look at this as a whole, as a lifestyle. You never knew that? I thought I told you. But it's not impossible. You just really, I always say this, like, if you understand the rules of the game, you know how to win. And again, that's why I want to provide this type of information. So maybe you guys are better suited or a little bit more knowledgeable when it comes to certain topics that really you deal with your body. Yes, it is possible to impact your hormones with a better diet. And that is definitely one way that I would recommend that. Again, I'll go back to the really digestive fix or digestive healing meal plan, because there are a lot of hormones located in your gastrointestinal tract. And if that is overstressed, if you're eating a lot of processed foods, that'll impact the hormones produced in that area and could contribute to increase in inflammation, increase in potential cortisol, increase, or we just talked about leptin, could be your body could become leptin resistant, all because of the food you're eating. And also the food you eat impact insulin levels. So again, it's all connected, but with eating the proper foods, you can regulate all that. And yes, that will potentially help regulate hormones. So, moral of the story. If you start with a foundation, if you create consistency, I would say most of the time it will impact hormones and regulate them and keep them in balance. Now, another part of that is learning to adapt and manage your lifestyle, because I know a lot of us are overstressed. And unfortunately, with being overstressed, sometimes it doesn't matter with how you eat or how you move until that stress is gone. And obviously, I can't say, oh, just relax. I wish I could. Well, I could, but then that probably wouldn't go over too well. But what I'm saying is it comes down to a choice. It comes down to a lifestyle. And you can choose to make excuses. You can choose to let that stress continually rule your life, or you can choose to do something about it. Because I always take the case that you're in control of your life. And by hopefully sharing some info about hormones, it can start to shed light on how you can do that, because it is all impacted by essentially you and the stress you're going through. Also genetics, yes, and that's why it's important to get them checked. But sometimes food, movement is not enough. Sometimes you need to make a choice to better your life to get your hormones regulated. For example, if you're in a job that is stressing you out like no other, is it really worth it to be in there? Yes, there's the aspect of finance, of course, but in my opinion, you're better off investing in yourself than a life of high stress. That's all I'll say about that. But again, hormones will pretty much control our body, control our life. They're messengers telling our body what to do. If they are overstimulated, understimulated, a lot of these issues you could be experiencing. And if nothing done, it can make, unfortunately, permanent changes to the body. Other than that, I think this brings our hormone discussion to an end. And since we have some time, if there are questions, please ask away. I'm going to turn on the light. So if you do have questions about hormones or really anything about the body, because I got about another 10 minutes, we can definitely get into those. So does omega-3 help with inflammation? The amount I take every day, 120 milligrams omega-3s, other omega, I don't really see a difference. Do I have to take more? Yes, it does help with managing inflammation. Let's say the right word here. For it to really do anything, you need about 3,000 milligrams. So that's why you're not feeling anything. So if that's one pill, I would bump it up to 3 pills. Tests for hormones. Yeah, you can go to any doctor really and get a blood panel done. Wow, that is the first time I've heard a doctor actually say that. But that can be true, where if you're doing high intensity all the time, yes, it's a stress. And if many factors have to come into play, but that is one potential outcome, or that is one potential. Well, the question was, or what this person said, so I forgot YouTube can't see the questions. The doctor told me that I should not do HIIT workouts too often because it releases cortisol, which is good. You have Hashimoto's, hypothyroid. Releasing cortisol isn't good. That's incorrect. Yes, we do want cortisol. It's when it's elevated for too long over a duration amount of time. And high stress will do that. In this case, the high intensity workouts could amplify that if done all the time. Again, it's a balance. It's all a balance. Let me. What do you? Hang on. I want to see if you are asking if I'm thinking what that is correctly. Oh, I see. Yeah, that is what I thought it was. Um, so Jessica, yes, you can take that and work out, but if that's not prescribed, I would be very, 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 very cautious. And I'm not going to say yay or nay, support or not support with any of that. You just, with taking anything, it's not, I mean, I would always just say start from proper diet, proper movement, recovery. Unfortunately, there are no secret pills or this and that. Just manage your body, make sure you're seeing a doctor. And I would say I would rather have you focus on eating properly, moving properly, and recovering properly. Tips for plateauing. Yes, change up whatever you're doing. Your body adapts. Your body adapted to what you're doing. It's no longer adapting because it's already adapted. Results stop. So change it up. Any other questions? Got 5 minutes. Thanks, Holly. I appreciate it. Oh, that's a good question. A number of HIIT workouts per week, ideal. Um, if you're overweight, obese, if you're brand new to exercise, if you are a novice, I would start with one. If you're more an advanced athlete, your body composition is where it needs to be. If you are an athlete, you're doing specific training, you can absolutely properly program 2 to 3, maybe even 4 high intensity workouts per week. But you need to be eating the right foods, the right amount of foods, all that fun stuff. But I would say for most of the people, 1 to 2 per week. When is the program of Dan going to be released? Soon. Soon, soon, soon. And in all honesty, when it is released, it's going to be literally everything I've been talking about. I don't do anything in addition special with Dan. It's start with proper eating, proper movement, proper recovery. And then from there, you see how your body adapts, and then you get more specific, depending on the person, the environment they're in, their lifestyle, all that fun stuff. So even when the program for Dan is released, I really don't recommend many people following it, because even if you do have AS, everybody's different. Everybody's different. Birth control is messing with your health enough to not take it. That I really can't answer because I don't know that answer. It would more come down to checking your hormone levels and talking with your doctor. You eat no dairy, low sugar, gluten free, anything else you should be avoiding with autoimmune disorders. Well, that's hard to say because I don't know your body. But no dairy, sugar, gluten free is a good place to start. In all honesty, I have an autoimmune disease, and I can have dairy no problem. So you just got to experiment. What do you mean by HIT? Because HIT could be just running. HIT could be a super high intensity strength training circuit. So define what your version of HIT is. Can I send you a workout plan? Well, you can email me and we could potentially talk and go from there. Tips for making CrossFit workouts better: make sure you eat and don't overstress your body, and more importantly, make sure you move properly. However, I know that I have hot flashes and sugar cravings. Well, it could be more than just estrogen, but potentially estrogen could be rising. So again, I can't say yay or nay or anything like that because I'm not an endocrinologist. I can only give potentials and recommendations. So I would, again, start from proper nutrition, proper movement, and recovery. And if that's still not helping, then hormones are an issue. And it may just be more than estrogen. It could be some of the other ones I talked about. Got like 2 minutes. Plank squats, high knees, frog jumps. Okay, so it's more of like, okay. Then yeah, to answer your question, yes, you could do that after, like if you do strength training one day and you're doing that the next day, yeah, you can do that. But it also depends what you do for strength training. So there's many different factors involved with that. But I would say for what you're doing for high intensity, you should be okay. Oh, well, thank you, Holly. I appreciate that. L-glutamine, does it help your gut health? Some studies claim that it is not good in the long term. Yes, it is great for your gut health. And I'll be honest with you, I have never read those studies. I don't know where you're finding them. I have yet to read a study that talks bad about L-glutamine. So if you know links to them, I would really like to see those. Send that, like, just direct message me, because I would really like to see what they're saying. But L-glutamine greatly assists in helping the body to recover, not just muscles, and that includes your gut. Thyroid and autoimmune disorders. Mine came out of the blue. Would love to learn more. Tara, I believe you said you emailed. I will make sure my assistant gets a hold of you so we can talk. Other than that, guys, I appreciate you being on. I hope this gave you a little bit more. Like I said, I understand I can get too in depth about like what to do for each of those because there's so much, and we would be here for 5 hours talking. And I know everyone's experiencing different things. Well, thank you. I love you guys too. So that's why I stayed relatively high level and talked more about symptoms. But those are hormones that do deal with potentially how we feel. Well, they do deal with how we feel and how we look. That's what hormones do. But I feel like those would be more important for what you guys want. So next week, I'm actually going to have, I'm going to do a guest talk with someone. It's not Dan. Don't worry. But it's actually a coworker of mine. I wanted to give you guys different perspectives on things. And she focuses a lot on nutrition. And I always want to give you guys like different points of views. Yeah, I figured some of you would be laughing. But we are going to talk about like the non-negotiables of eating. Like no matter what your body type is, no matter what you're doing, no matter this, no matter that, it's like these pieces have to be in your meal plan. And we're going to go over that. We'll kind of share our stories and experiences with all of that. And then you guys will be able to ask some questions. And very soon, I'll be posting when that's going to happen. I'm pretty sure it's going to be on Monday at 5 p.m. But like I said, I think Sunday you'll see a post. Other than that, guys, love you, and I will see you later. And yes, this will be posted on YouTube for those who want to see it again or didn't see it. Goodbye. And goodbye, YouTube.